Okay, so an Eagles offensive statistic that came out that is going overlooked needs to be corrected. Meanwhile, Philly works out a wide receiver who used to play for him. So much to break down, including Tank Bigsby needs to have a bigger role. Plus, Kevin Patullo straight lies to the media's face. And a big time Eagles beat writer goes on the radio to debunk the Jalen Hurts coaching staff and player frustration reports. Actually, a lot came out, including Brandon Graham speaking on it. What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Talk Podcast. If you rock with our Philadelphia Eagles, do me a favor, hit the like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss the videos. So as the Philadelphia Eagles prepare to take on the Dallas Cowboys for the second time of the season, this time at AT&T Stadium, we will be wearing our Kelly Green jerseys for the first time on the road since we brought them back in 2023. And the last time the Cowboys seen us in Kelly Green, we won by a landslide and locked up the NFC East. We got a special surprise for the Cowboys this week. But before we talk about the Cowboys beating the Raiders and their fan base thinking they're good again and back in the playoff hunt, the Eagles yesterday, according to Aaron Wilson of the NFL, worked out a former wide receiver that played for us named Zach Pascal, which I thought was interesting. A run blocking wide receiver? Cool. Maybe he can help out on certain plays like Johnny Wilson did last year. And Anthony DeBona has the numbers. In 2024, Johnny Wilson played 406 offensive snaps for the Eagles, 183 passes, 223 runs. In 2022, Zach Pascal played 405 offensive snaps for the Eagles, 200 passes, and 205 runs. That's it. Johnny Wilson was the reason Saquon Barkley ran for 2K. I'm just kidding, but it is interesting that the Eagles are using more and more fullback and now looking to work out a wide receiver who's known as a run blocker. We all know the play calling has been different via the run game, plus all the injuries on the offensive lines, the fact that we're not blocking good, especially for the run. Time and time again, there's a guy in the backfield in Saquon's face, and he has to make something happen. That being said, Jeff Stoutland is still the run game coordinator. I don't know why that don't get talked about enough, but with Saquon Barkley and guys I still want to trust on the offensive line, I'm still hopeful that the run game gets going. I also think you got to run Tank Bigsby a little bit more. We saw what this man did in the Giants game, over 100 yards on limited carries. But just the other day versus the Lions, Tank had 4 carries for 34 yards. That's 8.5 yards per attempt. And sometimes one big run kind of makes that number look weird, but none of his runs were under 5 yards. Why we only give him 4 carries? Get him at least 7, 8, maybe 9 or 10. Me feeling this way has nothing to do with Saquon Barkley, but maybe we keep him more fresh. Maybe he makes that one other person miss, even though the blocking ain't good, and takes one to the house. Plus, we're going to need Saquon Barkley for the long haul. So why put so much tread on the tire when you got a tank? I really do think that could help the run game get some juice, adding extra defensive ends, keeping everybody fresh. You saw what it did to that position. Let's utilize Tank Bigsby a little more. As for a Lane Johnson update, Jeff McLane tweeted, the inflammation in Lane Johnson's foot needs to go down before he can have x-rays to determine if his Liz Frank injury needs surgery, per NFL sources. So it could be a week or more before the Eagles know exactly how long their all-pro right tackle is out for the season. Like I said yesterday, we are blessed to have Fred Johnson on the roster, who is a very good, capable right tackle. So if Lane Johnson needs all the way to playoffs, I'm cool. He just needs to get healthy because these injuries keep stacking up, and I want him as our right tackle for the playoffs. Now, before we switch over to the defensive side of the ball, I do want to touch on Kevin Patullo's press conference. My bad for falling asleep, but you know how his pressers be. but also a pre snap penalty statistic and where the Eagles rank. And the question was, looking back at the last two games offensively, is there any one thing that is most frustrating that you haven't been able to do, but you need to fix?
I think, like everything, when you look at the situations we have sometimes, when we're on track, we do a pretty good job. And if we get off track a little bit, whether it's a negative play or a penalty, that puts us kind of in a hole. We've had some trouble with that. So, it starts with us as a staff to make sure we're in a good play and we're executing at a high level and we're all detailed up. And then if something happens like a penalty, sometimes those happen. We got to be able to overcome that. So that's kind of been the thing a little bit because we've had opportunities. We just haven't, made the most of them at times. We know we're capable of. I know the guys are excited about it, and then they feel like we're moving in the right direction. We just got to continue to push through that and explode when we need to.
So he said when we're on task, we're good. But when we have a negative play, maybe due to his play calling, we can't recover. Like I said, when he makes a mistake, the play call ain't good enough to recover. He also talked about pre snap penalties. And I do want to give him a little credit. Yes, a little credit for that because this is on the players too. Elias Shore Parks tweeted yesterday the Eagles are 15th in pre snap penalties with 26. The five teams with the fewest pre snap penalties are Seattle, Rams, Colts, Bills, Bucks, all Super Bowl contenders. Some teams with similar numbers of pre snap penalties of the Eagles are the Browns, Jets, Jags, Panthers. The only contender is the Patriots. Now, granted, I still don't like the play calling. And like I said, when we do make mistakes, he's not good enough to get us out. But we got to be more disciplined on the field. Our guys who get paid can't be getting flagged like that. That is Nick Sirianni's job as the head coach to nip that in the bud. But man, do I hate this guy's presser because I feel like he says the same thing over and over and he never really answers a question. Sorry to do this to y'all one more time, but he was also asked about the AJ Brown targets. Did you make it a point to get them to him?
Yeah, it was really no different. I think really the plan was pretty much similar to how it was, every other game with him. And the ball found him a little bit more, which is great. And he made some critical plays for us when we needed it. Made some really tough catches in traffic, and that's what he's awesome. He's a phenomenal player and did a really good job from that standpoint.
Man, just be straight capping. Ain't no way he didn't try to get the ball to AJ Brown more. Literally, AJ Brown defended Jalen Hurts and simply said he needs to be more involved in the game plan. A la, hey, Kevin, get me involved. Just admit the truth. Flipping things over to the defensive side, we've been talking all week on, actually all season long, just how good Quinyon Mitchell has been. But watch this breakdown from Acho.
There's not a better defensive back in all of football right now than Quinyon Mitchell. 6 targets, no catches allowed. Stop trying this man. He has so much confidence in his ability. You got a receiver at the top of the screen. What I love about Quinyon, he's sitting on a route. He's not threatened. He's not bailing. He's sitting on a route. He runs that out route for Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's an all-pro wide receiver, and that's an incompletion. Quinyon Mitchell understands route concepts, I would suggest, better than any defensive back in all of football. Here's Q again, top of the screen. Watch him get out of his break on this play. Right now, this outside receiver is going to run a dig, but watch Quinyon plant off that inside foot, drive underneath the route, make sure with the left hand he's securing the tackle just in case the receiver catches it, and then with the right hand, it's a PBU. Watch again more intently as he drives off that inside foot. I'm going to zoom in. Watch intently as he drives off that inside foot. Boom, inside foot. Secure the tackle and get the PBU. But then my favorite. This is why I love Quinyon. Bottom of the screen right here. Understand the down and distance. It is 4th and 3. I believe his IQ is better than many people in the National Football League. And even on this play is better than his teammates. 4th and 3. Quinyon's not going to pedal. He's not giving any cushion. Top of the screen, there's cushion here. But at the bottom of the screen, Quinyon, a simple catch technique. I know you're running to the sticks. He's not giving up anything. An incomplete pass. And then get height, Q. Get height. I love the tenacity that he plays with. 6 targets, no catches allowed, but it's because of the IQ like this. 4th and 3, understand the down and distance. Don't pedal. Don't give up anything easy. Press that dude. Out physical him, out athlete him, and then more than anything, get excited when you do it. That's a first team all pro if I've ever seen one.
At this point, why even throw his way? He is one of them ones. As for something Vic Fangio was asked during his presser about one of the D linemen saying they were doing tip ball drills this week and it came in handy. Fangio said,
Yeah, I didn't implement it. Clint did.
Okay.
Yeah, he just had some batted balls, and we thought we could get some.
he did not take credit for it. He gave it to Clint Hurt. Shout out to him. He goes overlooked, but I love him as a defensive line coach. And oh boy, did golf give us a bunch, and it came in handy. As for his response about Andrew Makuba playing better,
Yes, yes. And that's a part of us playing better too. He's, early in the year he had some, bad plays that led to big plays for the opponent, and we haven't had that lately.
As a coach, with a young player like that, do you just kind of have to live with that early in a rookie's career?
Yeah. I think I told you guys a story. Bud Grant always used to say, for every rookie you play, add a loss to your win column, the loss to your loss column. I heard another guy say you got to pay taxes on when you play rookies. So, but now it's.
I accidentally cut it off, but he said, this is week 11 for Makuba. He ain't a rookie no more. And honestly, early in the season, he was giving up big time plays, but he's been tightening it up, and the defense has been successful for it. Him, Adoree, Dean back, the new edge rushers. There's just so much going on, and we can't forget the two young corners and Quinn and Coop. I absolutely love it. Can't wait to see it in Dallas. Speaking of the Cowboys, since they beat the Raiders because their defense looked a little bit better and their offense always been good, the fan base is buying back in. They're like, if we win this many games, we can make the 7 seed playoffs, blah, 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 blah. And they think that when we come to Dallas with their high-powered offense and we can't score, they're going to beat us. I'm going to tell you right now, we will preview the game either Thursday or Friday. You know how we do on this channel, but a little preview. They not beating us. Now, for those who don't want to hear any more talk about if the frustrations for the coaches and players is true with Jalen and all that, stop the video now. I still love y'all to death. But yesterday, I only talked about the Gunn report where he was comparing him to Carson Wentz, and I kind of talked about the frustrations. Then a lot of stuff came out later in the day, and I still stand with my premise. I don't believe it's true the way he's saying it, and I'll play the other clip that I didn't play yesterday.
Those things are dissected on film during practice. Those things are talked about among the quarterback coach, the offensive coordinator, the head coach. It has been constantly discussed all season long, yet when they transition to the field on a football game, he plays his game. Not the game the coaches want him to play. He plays his game. I don't think you can get him out of that mode at this particular point. I think is what we're going to have to watch all season long is him playing his game. You look at a lot of quarterbacks, they're going to sling it. They're going to try to throw it through an eye of a needle. Sometimes you just have to take that chance. That's not his game. That's why he stands back there. A lot of times he's patting the ball, and it throws the timing of the offense off. The rhythm is thrown off. I don't think at this point they can't get him out of it. It's frustrating in a lot of ways to the coaching staff and to the players. Extremely frustrating to the players because when they look at the film the next day or a few days later, they see what's available out there and what should have happened, and it didn't happen. It's frustrating to them as well.
Mm-hmm. There was a one play in
particular. There you go. I'm just basically telling you there's a lot of people in that organization that are frustrated with the quarterback situation right now, but the quarterback understands he has them over a barrel. This is almost Carson Wentz part 2. They're not going to eat this kind of money yet. There's no way they're going to eat this kind of money. Look at the cap hit they took when they got rid of Carson, and
I cut the Carson Wentz part off because it was in yesterday's video, but I played the clip. You heard what he said. The crazy thing is, now that I got time to think about it, I heard that statement 4 days before he said it, but from who? Oh yeah, DMRussuni, however you say her name. She said, multiple offensive players have grown frustrated with Jalen Hurts' approach against zone coverage this season. People in the Eagles building tell blah, 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 blah. They believe he's become hesitant in tight windows, leaning on checkdowns or scrambles instead of trusting what's open downfield. That sounds similar to what Gunn said, minus the zone coverage, blah, 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 blah. Now you may be thinking 2 people said it. Well, DMRussuni said that A.J. Brown was going to be traded, said she had sources saying he wants out. But then when he wasn't traded and said he don't want out, she came on her podcast and said, well, my source was his Instagram. Huh? So just say you're speculating this from him being upset on social media. As for D Gunn, I used to love and respect this guy back in the day, but since he left NBC Philadelphia, he just hasn't been as plugged in. When he was on Jacob Media, he said one person said, let me give you a scenario of what he went through one day of practice. It was a 10-play scenario. He had 3 picks, 4 incompletions, and 3 sacks. And that went viral, which made AJ Brown say at the time, that practice stuff about Jalen is fake. Y'all tweet and believe anything. Like, how can he get sacked on 7-on-7 and there aren't any rushers? I believe water is above us. Believe that too and make an article about that too. This app is crazy, but that's not all. Lane Johnson, who don't be capping at all, quote tweeted it with this stamp that it wasn't true. Again, I was talking about that report back then before the 2022 season and said maybe someone said Jalen Hurts had a bad day and D Gunn just exaggerated. WIP asked Nick Sirianni about the D Gunn report that some Eagle players and coaches are frustrated with Jalen Hurts. And Nick said, I'm not frustrated with him, and went on to talk about what all he loves from his game, his leadership, blah, 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 blah. I'm still not done. Jeff McLane low-key debunked it. It's literally former insider versus legit insider.
With all the drama that there is it so drastic to the point where it needs to get fixed as soon as possible? Or do you think the drama is a little overblown and you think there will be fine moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely overblown. Yeah. I mean, look, I did a lot of digging in last week just after the whole A.J. Brown thing, and it was something they had to deal with. It was not business as usual down there, even though Nick says it was, but it's nowhere near inside what it is on the outside. And I think that this, honestly, I really haven't been paying attention with what's just chattered and been going out there with Jalen Hurts, because I know what I know about the whole Jalen Hurts situation, and I feel like I have a better handle on anyone in the media, to be quite frankly. So if I haven't really come out and reported anything, I just don't think it. I don't think it has risen to the level that I guess it sounds like you guys are talking about. As I said in my podcast, go listen to it, Uncovering the Birds. I mean, like, I do feel like it's, Jalen's a big part of what, how guys are viewing what's wrong with the offense. Absolutely. He's a quarterback, though. That's all part of it.
So he said, way overblown compared to what D Gunn and DMRussuni said. And I agree. Could it be people like, man, Jalen, you got to be better. We need his offense to be better. We all got to be better. Why not? The offense is struggling. And although we all know the play calling ain't good, the quarterback touches the ball every single time. And when an offense is struggling, no matter what else is going wrong, O-line, play calling, drop passes, who gets blamed? The quarterback. We all know the level Jalen Hurts can play at, and I believe he's going to play better regardless of KP. That being said, Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback in the NFL to have 500-plus passes, not just 1 year. It doesn't matter when the sample size came. Nobody threw the ball over 500 times and had 2 or less interceptions. The guy just don't turn the ball over. And our offense, under Nick Sirianni, preaches, do not turn the ball over. Win the turnover battle. We are 40-2 when we do that under Nick Sirianni. Could there be times where they're watching film and or after a play is done on the sideline where they're like, man, just throw it up. I promise I'll get it. I'm Smitty. Shoot, he said that in the Packers game. And A.J. Brown also said, get me the ball, good things happen. However, if Jalen Hurts just starts throwing them like this, like this, like this, and he starts throwing picks, what are people going to say? Bro, you're turning the ball over, costing us the game. Maybe he has to take a little bit more of a risk, but Jalen Hurts plays a smart brand of football situationally. He slings the rock when he needs to. If a team goes up on us, Jalen Hurts will sling the rock regardless. He'll audible. He'll go deep. For people who say he don't go deep, prior to the Lions game, he led the NFL in passes of 20 yards or more through the air. Simple and plain. He had 17 and he had one in a Lions game, so he probably still leads the NFL with passes that travel at least 20 or more yards. What are we doing here? Again, I feel like DMRussuni and Gunn, especially where he's talking Eagles now, knows there's a little smoke. There always was a little smoke about the offense in its totality due to what A.J. Brown said recently. Simple and plain. So they blew it out of proportion because of the style of play of Jalen. Every quarterback misses wide open passes. Golf missed passes in that game. Pressure was in his face. That's why he missed it. But it happens to everyone. Jalen misses passes. Does he miss one or two more than someone else? Maybe. I'm not here to argue that. But I don't think it's how they are saying it. That's my whole thing. I just need y'all to hear me because we got football to play and not gossip to talk about. Listen to BG before I say one more thing.
How I view it is heavy is the head that wear the crown. And that's how I look at it. Somebody wants somebody to blame. And, of course, Jalen going to get the blame. Nick Sirianni going to get the blame. But they embrace that. That's what I can respect about Jay. Jay embraced that. But it's tough to hear when people hide behind those little private sources. Or it's like, just come on out and say it. Or go talk about it. Because all it is a distraction. Don't get involved with all the talk because that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to talk. They're supposed to talk about our performances in a good way and in a bad way. If we have a bad day, it's okay. But what are we doing to help our team? And I hate to hear that it is private talks going on, but it's always going to be that.
Who was it? The cook in the cafeteria? I'm just saying, I don't think it's to that extent. If you ask anybody on the offense, they're going to say, I got to be better. He got to be better. He got to be better. He got to be better. Jalen believes he got to be better. That's it. Like, we're making it like, oh my God, this team is like, people hate Jalen and we might trade Jalen. And bro, he's a Super Bowl champion. Been to the game twice. Like, I just don't know. Like I said, Sam Darnold had a chance to beat the Rams for the Seahawks to be over the Rams in the NFC. Seahawks defense is good. Not like the Eagles, but it's good. It held the Rams to under 250 total yards of offense. Rams only scored 21. You're like, Seahawks held them to 21 while Darnold threw 4 picks. If Darnold played a conservative game, maybe they win. It was 21-9. A conservative game was what was needed there because the Rams couldn't move the ball. The turnovers gave them their opportunities. So again, let Jalen start throwing it in the zones. Throw it up, Smitty, 80, they'll get it. And if they don't, he gets blamed anyways. Jalen don't care. He gonna keep winning. People gonna keep talking. The Eagle fans, stick together. Don't let something like this. We could talk about it because we got to talk about it. But that's my take on it. Did someone say, yeah, Jalen got to throw the ball in this situation? Okay, cool. Other teams say that about their quarterback too. I'm done. I love you to death. This is probably the most I ramble. Normally, it's only fact, stat. My take on it. Move on. I've been rambling since I told you if you don't want to hear it, don't. But I'm not talking about it no more. It's football. It's football. Unless somebody comes out and really is like, it was me. We talking about football the rest of the week. It's Eagles versus Cowboys. Kelly Green. I can't wait to break this game down. Like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel. I love you to death. Leave me a comment. And if you did watch my whole crazy thing at the end, you a real one. And you also believe Jalen Hurts is good money. We out.